as we're seeing also in Maryland. Former President Trump backing a candidate for that state's governor, setting up a high-profile primary between two factions of the party. Trump endorsed State Delegate Daniel Cox yesterday in the race to fill the seat of term-limited Republican Governor Larry Hogan. Hogan, a frequent Trump critic, has already handpicked a candidate to replace him, Maryland's Commerce Secretary Kelly Schultz. Trump-backed Daniel Cox has embraced many far-right positions. He sued Hogan to challenge his stay-at-home orders during the pandemic, and he also represented a man in court who was arrested for refusing to wear a mask at a polling place. Governor Hogan responded, tweeting, quote, "Personally, I'd prefer endorsements from people who did not lose Maryland by 33 points." We will note that Governor Hogan's job approval in a recent poll reached 68%. Joe, Larry Hogan's one of the most popular governors in all of the country of any party, so his endorsement holds a lot more sway in that state than does perhaps Donald Trump's.
The Republican race for governor is getting some national attention. Political analysts are watching closely to see if the Trump factor will decide who wins the GOP nomination.
On the Republican side here in Maryland, the two frontrunners for the governor's nomination are one-term state delegate Dan Cox, who's endorsed by Donald Trump, up against the state's former Secretary of Commerce, Kelly Schultz. She's supported by the state's popular current Republican Governor, Larry Hogan, according to Dr. Malia Cromer, who conducts the well-respected Goucher poll.
While I'm not sure if the Trump endorsement is enough to bring him over the finish line victorious, I do know that without the Trump endorsement, it is unlikely that this race would have been as competitive as it is now.
Dan Cox, can you win a general election being MAGA?
Absolutely, yes. And it's the endorsement of a lifetime, and I'll tell you why. Because the election was stolen, Steve.
They're willing to support a lying conspiracy theorist like Dan Cox.
Democrats are so scared of losing again that they are now enabling, emboldening, and embracing a QAnon conspiracy theorist. Someone who bust people to the Capitol on January 6th.
Is he electable according to your polling?
Only one type of Republican is electable in the state, and that looks like Larry Hogan.
My campaign is to restore freedom to the free state. What's so wrong about that? Nothing. Everyone across every party line wants to have their liberty back, and I'm the only one offering that.
Cox contends Governor Hogan, whom he sued and wanted to impeach, robbed people of their liberty during the early days of the COVID pandemic. He cites the governor's stay-at-home order and mask requirements. Cox rails against vaccination cards, which he calls vaccination passports. He deplores private businesses and government offices who require proof of inoculation.
We have a path to victory. Because the people of Maryland do not want mandates, we're going to have a flood of people voting for the freedom ticket, Dan Cox and Jordana Fishinelli.
Dan Cox, the guy that we were hearing about yesterday, is a QAnon whack job who was in favor of, I think, calling Mike Pence, my friend Mike Pence, a traitor when they were talking about hanging him. So it's a pretty clear choice. The Goucher poll came out last week saying a Republican like Hogan would beat a progressive Democrat by 20 points and would beat a moderate Democrat by 5 points. A Republican like Trump would lose 69-29, I think was the number, push back. But the voters of Maryland are going to make their own decision about who they think the next governor should be, and I'm pretty sure it's not going to be the crazy QAnon guy.
The AP has called the race for the Maryland Republican governor's nominee in Dan Cox's favor.
This is a huge win for you. What is going through your mind?
Just elation. We're excited. We're so thankful because, once again, we see that freedom matters. It matters to all parties in Maryland. It matters to every background. We're excited to carry that banner of freedom, and I'm so grateful for President Trump coming along and giving us this boost that has carried us to victory. It's exciting. The end is here. We're running to win, and we're reaching out to Democrats and independents alike saying, our campaign is the campaign to give you your freedom back. We're here to make sure that your civil rights and your Constitution is always intact for you. And I pledge to do that as your next governor.
Should any Republican care what Donald Trump says in Maryland when you've got a guy sitting there, a Republican with a 70% approval rating?
Well, I'll give you two words why this is important in Maryland. It's called closed primaries. If the reason Hogan has those numbers is because independents and Democrats are very supportive of how bold and strong he has been in his willingness to call out the conspiracy silliness, to call out the big lie, to call out the irresponsibility around behavior and COVID. He has been somebody who has been a voice of sanity in a wilderness of nuttiness in the Republican Party.
But the voters of Maryland are going to make their own decision about who they think the next governor should be, and I'm pretty sure it's not going to be the crazy QAnon guy.
I am your voice.
Donald Trump is your biggest problem.